Hello.
How are we feeling today?
Tommy, that was very nice. I
No.
appreciate it.
How are we
Like Tommy said,
feeling
my name is
today?
Derek Crean. I am the
This lady in the front row is like, you are crazy. We must not know each other. Our next guest, I have the honor of introducing people, and I love it. My friend Derek, I don't even know where to start. Him and I are so, aligned. It's this kind of weird thing. We ran into each other at the gym this morning. If you want to get in a workout, see you at 6 a.m. Tomorrow morning.
Thanks,
Come
buddy.
free. Join us as we get a quick session. My friend, founder of Your Haven Design. You need to get that in your head. Your Haven Design. Design and planning company serving landscape contractors. They produce 1,500 designs for 350 contractors just last year. Reducing change orders, increasing close rates, protecting margin before the construction begins. Charging for designs, known for building systems and driven operations. Helps contractors scale without stress. Derek is a game changer in this industry, and we found him. He's ready to turn this industry upside down. I started as a landscape architect 25 years ago, and I'm super stoked where this is headed. Let's give it up for Derek Cleland.
Thank you, Big Tommy. Hello. How's it going, everybody? Tommy, that was very nice. I appreciate it. Like Tommy said, my name is Derek Cleland. I am the owner and CEO of Your Haven. Last year, we did 1,500 design and plans. So when I say design, 3D renders and 2D construction plans for outdoor living contractors. We service over 400 all across the US, the UK, and Canada. And our goal is really just to help people win. When I got out of college 9 years ago, I started a landscape company. I found Structure Studios, playing around on design, and when I was 22, 23 years old, we were selling massive $300,000 projects. Probably didn't have any business really doing that. It kind of quickly all came to an end because I learned that in business, the most important thing is just to stay focused and go as deep as you can in one avenue. When you start doing too much, that's when things start going bad for you. And so in that company, I realized how important design is. And when I had the opportunity to start this company, I knew that being able to service contractors in the design space is an opportunity that is really overlooked. Most of the guys trying to sell to contractors are marketing guys. I know everybody gets called by marketing guys all the time, website guys, where we're able to really provide a product that is truly going to help your business grow. To me, design is the one piece of an outdoor living company that brings the entire business full circle, top to bottom. From marketing, being able to market designs, to selling designs, to using the designs and plans to install the project by having less change orders, less issues. And then lastly, using it as a feedback tool to recognize, okay, here's the design, here was our estimate, here's the final product, what went wrong? The last thing I absolutely love about design is that it is the foundation and it creates the ability to remove the emotion between you or your project manager and the homeowner. I know we've all dealt with that. Emotions get high when expectations aren't set correctly. For me, when we have a proper design and a proper plan, we can always reference back to the design in order to remove emotion. So, hey, was it in the design or not? And that's the great thing about design. So I'm going to talk about 3 things. The title of the talk is Lean Design. So engineering margin instead of managing problems. I think we can always go back to the beginning of our process to recognize and solve for problems when they happen throughout the construction project. And so design allows us to engineer margin, meaning that if we follow our process for design, if we follow our SOPs for design, we're going to have much more successful projects, and we can much more much better accurately estimate what our profit margin is going to be at the end of the job. So like I said, I'm going to talk about three things. The first thing is where I see, talking to a ton of contractors, I work with a lot of you guys in here, talking to over 400 contractors, where I see margin leaking the most. Number two is our SOP for how we sell design. So I know this isn't a sales thing, but I'm not going to talk about our full pitches and everything like that, but our process for how we go about offering design and selling design to homeowners. And then lastly, our business model and how we've been able to create lean design. So we turn around about 150 to 175 designs a month. We have a lean design process. I'm going to share it with you guys. You guys can implement it, and then we'll go from there, and hopefully I'll go sell more jobs and make some more money. So, number one, lean companies engineer margin. Most problems that happen out in the field, we can revert back and come back to our design process. If in our design process we're missing things or we're rushing, if we're allowing a customer or a homeowner to pull us out of our flow or our process, we're going to have more problems. And these aren't field problems, change orders that are unexpected, miscommunication or missed expectations, burnout on our designers doing a ton of revisions. These aren't field problems, these are design problems. And so this is where margin actually leaks. This is from talking to a bunch of different guys and really hearing about where their problems lie. This is where I see margin leaking. If you're not making the money you want to make on a project, we have to go back to design first. Number one is not qualifying the customer correctly. When I was younger, I did this terribly. I would not qualify the customer at all. I always just wanted to win a job.
Here, I'll take it over.
But I listened to this book, I think it's called Getting Naked. It's a consulting book, and he talks about how actually selling the wrong customer is almost worse than not selling a customer at all. Because that customer is not going to take responsibility for any mistakes that are made. And so by not qualifying the customer, you may be putting yourself in a worse position than if you had sold, or by selling them, than if you had not and you just let them go. Weak intake meetings. I have another slide about this one. I think this is the number one. Because we serve contractors and we're partnered with contractors, we rely a ton on the information that you get on site. I'm not there. Now for you, if you have your own design process, I think it's really important as well that the questions we ask and the information that we gather in our collaborative design meeting, that's what we call our on-site meeting, in our on-site meeting is going to either set your project up for success or set it up for failure. And by not asking good questions to your customer, not only are you not getting what you need in order to accurately estimate and set the project up for success, but you're not putting yourself in a position to look professional and outshine the rest of your competition. Weak intake meetings are probably by far the most frustrating as a designer. If there are other designers in here, I'm sure you could probably relate to that. If your sales guy is not getting you good information, it's very difficult to know what the homeowner really wants. So we'll talk about more of that next. Number three, emailing estimates without alignment. This isn't even really margin leak. This is just you're losing jobs. You're not putting yourself in the position to win projects at all. When we email estimates, we are completely removing the opportunity for us to overcome objections and simply just ask for the close. Half of this business is just showing up and asking for the close. And if you're emailing estimates, you're removing the possibility to do that.
Amen.
Let's go. Number four, designing without a defined budget. There's a couple contractors who we work with. I absolutely love their process. They won't even start a design until the homeowner agrees to a defined budget. And the reason is because if they design a $250,000, $300,000 project, and you go present it and they're like, oh, I only have $100,000, you wasted your time, the designer's time, the homeowner's time. So really, in the intake meeting, if our intake meeting is better, we should be able to get a better defined budget so that we can design to that standard. Next is no execution standards. This is much more for the operation guys. I'll talk about this in a little bit, but we've created an asset library for all of our contractors. What's in the asset library is a bunch of different standards of plants they use, materials they use, where they shop, the 2D standards, and then we take every single asset that we've ever designed for them and save them in their own file. That way they can create a standard way of installing these designs. And by having a standard in your install process, that's how you're going to be able to predict your margin much better, rather than kind of just going off the cuff, using random materials, every single design being different. It's fun to be creative, right? But we're here to make money and we're here to grow a business. So having execution standards and flowing that from your design to your install is very important. And then lastly is inconsistent deliverables. This is basically just you not following a standard, right? Every single time, things being different. The goal is, again, to create creativity through standardization. That's really what we've been able to do. So, like I said, we can take meetings. So when we go meet a homeowner and we're not asking them the right questions, we're not putting ourselves in a very good position in order to win. We can take meetings mean that you didn't get a defined budget, you have unclear priorities, there's different expectations for what you want for the homeowner, what the homeowner wants for themselves, maybe what the husband wants, what the wife wants. Nobody really knows. There's constraints that we haven't unlocked yet because we're not asking the right questions. And all of this leads to endless revisions in the design process. A revision or two is totally fine. That's normal, right? I mean, if we hit it on the head the first time, fantastic. But 6, 7, 8 revisions is a true problem, and it comes from weak intake meetings. So we'll talk about the questions that we ask here in a little bit, but I think what you should go reflect on are the questions you're asking the homeowner. Really what we've broken it down to is why the homeowner actually wants what they want. Like, why do they say, I want a fire pit? Everyone wants a fire pit, or everybody wants an outdoor kitchen. It's like, how much are you actually cooking, right? Have you had a fire pit in the past, and how many times are you actually sitting outside at the fire pit? Because you're about to spend $12,000 to $15,000 on this fire pit for what, right? So really understanding why they want what they want, that'll change your intake meeting from being weak to very strong, and you winning more projects, and really getting the homeowner what they want. Because they might say they want something, and at the end of the job, you had performed everything that they had said that they wanted, and they might not like it, and it's really not your fault, but who's gonna eat that? You're not gonna get a solid review, you're not gonna get the referrals that you want, and they're just gonna be an upset customer. Next is the emailing estimates. I don't know if you guys have ever got an estimate emailed to you, but the first thing I do whenever anybody sends me an emailed estimate, which my videographer and marketing guy actually did that, and I told him no more doing that, bro. You can't do that. You scroll to the bottom, you look at the price, and then it's like, okay, I'm out, right? Every single time. I think this was the biggest game changer for us, and the biggest game changer for a lot of contractors who are trying to make more money and trying to close more jobs, is just putting themselves in the position to win. If you're emailing estimates, you really don't care about your business, and you really don't care about winning the jobs. I know you might be busy. I know you might have meetings and you might have customers that are all over the place. Worst case scenario, you set up a Google Meet or a Zoom to present your estimate to the customer. Because if you're emailing it, again, you're removing all opportunity to overcome objections, build value in your estimate, and then simply just ask for the close. So that's one thing that has to stop in order for you to increase your margin and just predict your closing percentage. Predict how many leads you need in order to set X amount of meetings, in order to get X amount of closes. You have to schedule either on-site or on Zoom. I like in-person. It's much harder for people to say no in person, in my opinion, but it's up to you, Zoom or in person. I love the idea of having a small offer that's an intro offer and getting a homeowner connected with you. This business is all about trust. No homeowner wants to meet with 5, 6, 7 contractors. They only do that because they don't trust you. So if they say they're gonna go get somebody else, they just don't trust you yet. But if you're able to create a smaller offer to get your homeowner financially invested in you through design, they're not gonna go talk to anybody else. You've already built trust with them. Selling a design is gonna qualify the homeowner for you. A serious homeowner is going to be willing to purchase a design. Now, if they don't trust you, they're not gonna purchase it from you. But if you did a good job with your intake meeting, asking them solid questions, and then simply asking for the design fee at the end of your intake meeting, if they're serious, they'll understand why. There's 3 things that we always say. Design, Mr. Customer, is the only way that you're able to make all your decisions up front, get an accurate estimate, and then avoid change orders during the project. If we can do all of this for you for only $1,500 or only $2,500, only $5,000, is there any reason this wouldn't make sense? And I always shake my head, no. And then they say no, and then I give them a high five and I say, get your checkbook. Every time, and it works. Selling design will allow you to win more jobs. It's going to protect your time. I think that anytime you're meeting with a homeowner on site, unless it's project management, and even then probably sometimes too, you should be collecting money. And the reason is because your time is valuable. You're a professional. You have expertise. You have a ton of experience. If you're not selling design, you're removing the opportunity to win more jobs. Design also is a great way for you to get the true budget out of a homeowner. Because once we sell them a design, now it's like, okay, we want to make this design accurate to what your real budget is. So just tell me, I want to make the design, I don't want to waste your time. But when you're on site before you sell a design and you're at an estimate with a homeowner and you ask them what the budget is, they're always scared to tell you because they don't want you to hike up the price or, they don't want to they get scared off by trying to give you the budget. But if you sell them a design, they're going to be much more open to giving you what that actual budget is. Okay, so the practical framework. So this is how we sell design, right? You don't need to do anything that I say, but this is how we do it. I suggest implementing it. There's a lot of guys in here who use this. We spent a lot of time putting this together and kind of making iterations. One thing that I liked, Mark kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier. Iteration is most important. Naval Ravikant says this as well. The saying is 10,000 hours makes you an expert. But doing something for 10,000 hours in a row, I'm pretty sure that's the definition of insanity, right? It's 10,000 iterations. How many times can we tweak something a little bit just to make it a little bit better? I think that was maybe Mark when he was saying, I think his name's Dwayne Kerrigan, when he said, just changing a word one time every single day, that way you can get deeper and deeper and deeper. All right? So this is our framework. Number one is we do a discovery call. So we have a lead come in or a DM come in. We run a lot of meta ads. Or we have our cold outreach team calling. Now, on the discovery call, we frame it as a 10 to 15 minute call. And the thing that I always say right in the beginning of the call is, Mr. Customer, the point of this call is just to make sure we're the right fit for each other. I always say that. Nobody wants to buy from anybody who's begging or broke, so we want to relieve a little bit of pressure and say, hey, I just want to make sure we're the right fit for each other. So I'd love to hear about what your goals are on your project. We'll tell you a little bit about us and our design process, and then if it's a right fit, we'll set up an in-person meeting. So that's number one. That's how we do our discovery call. Honestly, I think just saying those couple words of making sure this is the right fit for each other is that allows us to set way more in-person meetings. The goal of the discovery call is to get the in-person meeting set up. Then we do our on-site meeting. That's the collaborative design meeting. The point of the collaborative design meeting for us is to sell the design. We're not trying to sell the install. We're not trying to sell a $300,000 project. We're not trying to get them to commit to some big thing. We're the professionals. We lead them down our process. We have a standard. Our goal is to sell the design. We walk through the home with them. We ask them good questions. Whoever's asking the questions is in charge. If they're asking you questions and you're sitting there answering, they're in charge. Our goal is to understand why they want what they want. Something that's actually really helped me, I learned this in door-to-door. I sold door-to-door for a little bit. When you go to the house, and I lived in Austin for 5 years, so I'd go to a house and I'd see a Dallas Cowboys flag in the front of the house, and I'd say, oh, the Cowboys fan, no way. Find something in their driveway, find something in their house to create a little bit of rapport. That's a good way to break the ice and relieve a little bit of pressure. And then that way you can have a good conversation through the rest of your on-site meeting and hopefully get a little bit more information than you would if you weren't open to kind of creating some rapport with them in the beginning. So that's our on-site meeting. The goal at the end of the meeting is to present the design package and collect the design fee. Big mistake I see here is that, yes, now you're in person and you're pitching, but you need to get the agreement signed and collect the design fee right now. We're not emailing it and waiting for you to sign it and send the money. We're collecting the money now so that we can get started on the process. We position design as clarity, not so much artwork. A huge factor in us being able to sell a lot of designs and a lot of our contractors being able to sell designs is we print out a design example set. So what this looks like is a basic PDF 8x11 that has a bunch of 3D renders on there, and then it has some 2D plans that we've done with your logo on it. Now, if you're doing designs, this is really easy for you to put together. We can put one together for you as well, no problem at all. Having a visual is a great way for the homeowner to understand exactly what it is that you're offering. If you're not showing them a visual when you're asking them to buy a design, sometimes it's difficult because a lot of designers or a lot of homeowners, when you say design, might think about a 2D drawing or a hand sketch or kind of a Minecraft-looking rendering, right? But when you show them a very high-quality design, they're much more intrigued about getting that done for their house. When it's very realistic and you say, hey, look, I can do this for you, it's really important that you do that and bring a visual. So we call it the design example set, 8x11. It's your renders, it's your 2D plans, print it out, laminate it, and bring it to all of your sales calls. Number 4 is charging for design. You kind of made that clear a little bit ago. And then number 5, there's a lot of guys who do this really well. Some guys will credit the design cost back to the build if they move forward with them. There's another strategy where you actually do the design for free, but because you're not emailing the design or sending them the design, and you set another design presentation meeting with them, you can present the design to them, ask for the close, and if they don't close, then you can try to push for just selling the design. There's a lot of pool companies who use that. OC Poolscapes in California, they're huge. I actually called them when I first started because I want to hear about their sales process, and that's what they do. So they'll still sell designs for $3,000, $4,000 after they pitch the entire project. So I think that's a good way to kind of limit and provide a little bit more of a guarantee or a credit back to them that de-risks the offer a little bit. And then lastly is just set a defined turnaround time. Really that goes into more of setting the expectation of what happens next. The homeowner wants to be led. You're the leader. You're the professional. So telling them exactly what's going to happen is very, very, very important. That was a big mistake I made when I was younger in my career, was I wanted to tell people what I thought they wanted to hear, but that really bit me in the butt. Setting the right expectation is so important because then nobody can ever be mad at you. So when a homeowner pays, it's much more likely that you're going to get a true defined budget. Now you have all the decision makers involved in the design process. What you're designing is going to be prioritized based on what they want. The project now becomes a little bit more real. So once we have them financially invested in us, they're going to ride with us unless we mess it up. And then when we present that design, that's when we get them emotionally invested, and that's when we're able to sell the job. Again, they don't want to go talk to 10, 15 different contractors. They want to find one person. So having that small buy-in in the beginning is going to increase the amount of deals that you get. So before and after selling a design. Before selling a design, it's a vague scope. You're getting competing bids, unclear budget, ton of revisions, lower close rate, and people aren't taking you as serious. When you are selling design, you're going to get a more defined scope.
Do we need to do
You can
vendors?
set a nice design presentation. They're going to take time to meet with you again because they're already invested. So they're going to follow your process. You're going to have aligned expectations. You're going to understand their budget. Less revisions because they're going to spend more time with you in the beginning.
I don't have to be
And
there.
you're going to have a higher close rate. I really respect everybody in here for taking a risk to bet on yourself, to provide a better life for you, your family, your employees. That's very commendable. We call it being in the arena. That's what we talk about. Always being in the arena. I really respect that. So I want to grow, and I want to make this a huge thing. And so for us, we have to do it in a lean way in order to make this happen. And putting out 150 designs a month right now, it is a lean design company. And lean does not mean fewer people. It just means better structure. It means defined roles for all your people. It means a clear process. It means less waste, less variation, and more predictability. This is the way that we've been able to set up. So the way that we're able to get 150 to 175 designs out a month right now is through basically a production line of designers. So we have 5 different teams on our design team. We have our house model team. We have our landscape design team. We have our revisions team, our drafting team, and then our lead/quality control team. The reason why we have these teams set up is because I want our team to be incredibly detailed and go as deep as possible in their role. I want us to be specialized. So our house model team, the only thing that they do is model the existing property based on the site photos, the survey, and the intake form that you guys provide. The reason why I think having defined roles is very important is because it's going to lessen the amount of burnout that your team has. So I think even on your operations side, that's why you have tile guys, masons, wall guys, carpenters. That's why we have those things, so they're not doing everything and they're not getting burnt out. But so many people I talk to just expect their designer to do everything. And I think it's kind of silly because I don't know if a lot of you guys have been on a design program before, but by the time you're done with the house model, you're pretty sick of the design already. So this is how we've kind of structured it. We have our house model team, and then we have our design team. Our designers just focus on the first draft design. They put together all the 3D design, all the conceptual renders, and the 3D video for you. And then we have a revision team. I've never met any other company that does this. I think it's really important. I think this is what it allows us to really create the speed and efficiency. Basically, these guys would just focus on the second, third, fourth draft revisions based on the customer notes. One big tool that I absolutely love, I would write this down, it's loom.com, Loom.com. It's a great way for you to communicate with your team as well as for your homeowners to be able to communicate revisions and notes back to you. Basically what it does is it records your screen, it records your mic, and it records your camera. So you can create a quick little video saying, hey, let's make this change, this change, this change. It'll save it as its own link, and then you can send it out to your team, you can send it to us, you can send it to your homeowner can send it to you, and so forth. Then we have our drafters. These guys just do the 2D plans. The way that we operate on the design side, a lot of guys do it differently. They start with 2D and then do the 3D. We treat the 2D as the documentation phase of the 3D design. So we always start with 3D first. Visually, I feel like it's the best way for the homeowner to make their decisions. And then the 2D is the documentation phase of the 3D. We're not making any more changes on the 3D once it's been approved. We only want to do the 2D plans one time because the 2D plans truly are the game changer when it comes to actual install on site. So we don't want to be making a bunch of changes to the 2D plans. So 3D first, then 2D, and then lastly we have quality control. For quality control, this is typically our design director who's a landscape architect graduate. A lot of the contractors we work with have designers in-house, and they act as kind of the go-between between the design team and the homeowner, and they can focus on quality control. I think it's just an important piece that nothing should go out unless it's solid, unless it's been looked at by somebody who's managing the process. So our intake form, we don't require every question to be answered, and I can send you guys this. At the end, there'll be a QR code. You can scan it, and I can send you. You can book a call and request our intake form. A lot of this I got from talking with a bunch of different contractors about what questions they're asking. The intake form is the most important piece. The more information we can get up front, the better the design is going to be. Not every question is required, but if you really care about winning the job and you really care about having a successful project, you will fill it out. And you will make your homeowner fill it out as well. That's another great piece about or another great reason why selling a design is important is because you can get your homeowner to then spend some time filling out the design request form. Next is our asset library. I would highly suggest, whether you use a company like us or you do this yourself and you have a design team in-house, I'd highly suggest creating an asset library for your company. We use Notion.com. Notion.com is fantastic. It's a great place to keep organized. You can upload files. You can have your team on there. What our asset library does is it allows us to create standards across the design. For every company that we work with, we'll create a live planting guide. So what plants work well in your zone? What plants do you use? Because there might be some plants that work well in your zone, but that you might not like to use or you can't get. So what plants do you like? What plants do you use? Making sure that these are in your standards so that your designers can use it, your sales guys can use it, you can talk about them, and that way there's a standard for your planting. Next is standards around your 2D. A lot of guys like 2Ds differently. I think there's an interesting way that I think 2D is going to change. Mark and I had actually talked about this. We work with a lot of architects who put together these crazy plans, and they're very difficult to read. I think setting up your 2D in an order of operations style, from demo all the way to final, is the way that 2D will progress over the next couple years. And so having standards around your 2D, by talking to your operations team, talking to your labor team, what is it that they really need in their plans, and then implementing that, documenting it in your asset library so that all your plans moving forward have what's necessary for them to build correctly. Next, we have the 3D standards, then we have our render settings, and then what we do for all of our designs, but you can use this, whether you use SketchUp or Structure Studios, Landscape Architect, whatever you use, we take and save every single feature that we ever design. So every fire pit, every wall block, every water feature, patio, pergola, everything that we've ever designed for your company, or if it was our company, for our company, we save them in the asset library as its own file and own asset so that we can become more efficient through every design. I'd highly suggest that. That's going to make your estimating more accurate. It's going to make your estimating more efficient, your design more efficient, and that's how you actually engineer margin instead of just putting a random design together and then managing the problems later on. Next is quality control. This is just like when you're on site on the install. It's the same way with design. Design is the Bible of the job. Like I mentioned in the beginning, design is the expectation setter. It's the best piece because you don't have to play good cop, bad cop. You just use the design as the tool to remove emotions and make sure that when there's a question, we just go back to the design. There's no emotions about it. The homeowner, we just go back. So having a quality control checklist and a process for all of your designs is going to save you more time later on. Making sure that everything is labeled correctly, it's consistent, your materials are called out, it's buildable, and there's visual clarity. So this system that we've created through our designers, the way that we've set up our design team, the system we've put together from the sales to the actual implementing of the design, we've had higher close rates, fewer revisions, clearer estimating, less field confusion, faster turnaround, and a more predictable margin. One thing I'd say that I think is really helpful that I know some guys do, and I learned this from them, is they will print out not only the 2D plans for your job, of course, but they'll actually print out all the 3Ds and then bring them on site for their team to see. It's great to work off the 2Ds, but if you could bring the 3Ds on site, laminate them, and have them there for your guys, then there's less questions, less managing, less micromanaging, and everybody knows what to expect. These are some of the guys that we've worked with. One guy I'd really love to talk about, his name's Chris Gillespie. He started with us about 2 years ago. He was selling designs for $500, a couple $100. He now sells about 6 to 8 designs a month, all for no less than $2,500 per design. As you start to provide better designs to your customers, that's going to build the confidence in you being able to sell designs for hire and get higher quality jobs. Design is the best. So many guys want to sell these $1 million projects. Design is the best way to do that. No homeowner who's going to spend $500,000 to $1 million on a job is going to do the project without a design. So if you want to sell higher value projects, which sometimes is not always the best, honestly, but if you want to do that, it's through design. So this is engineering margin. If you're constantly managing problems throughout the project, whether it's install, whether it's your estimating, whether it's your sales process, go back to design. It's a design leak problem. It is a design problem. It's a design problem every time. Lean design allows you early decision making, accurate estimating, setting the expectation early, and smoother installs. So that's pretty much our entire playbook for the company that we've built. You can go implement that yourself. I've pretty much given everything. There's nothing that I'm holding back that I haven't done. You can go do it yourself, or you can scan the QR code. This is going to take you to our landing page where you can see more about what we do. If it's interesting for you, you're looking to looking to have help on your design team or producing better designs, you can give us a call. We can chat, maybe test out a project or two and see if we're the right fit. But I just want to say thank you so much for listening. I hope this was helpful. If you could take one thing to help make your business more efficient, that's all that really matters to me. So hope it was good. We can do a little Q&A. I think we got some time for that. And thank you guys. Appreciate it.